First. Good morning, Wham! So, we're doing President James Monroe, that good President James Monroe, from the era of good feeling. All right. Are you feeling good? Connor, how are you feeling? That's enough of that. All right. Thank you, James. All right. Here we go. The era of good feelings. Here you go.
Go. It's you, Connor.
All right.
There you go.
So, that good President Monroe. Well, James Monroe reminded some people of George Washington. He was another tall, courtly Virginian and so honest that Thomas Jefferson said you could turn his soul inside out and there would not be a spot on it. Hey, Connor, you want to show me your Thomas Jefferson $2 bill?
This is a $2 bill.
It's very rare.
Yes.
Do you know, Connor, how much is it worth since it's so rare?
$2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's $2.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and it has a picture of the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, on the back?
Yep,
Nice.
on the back right here, there's an image of the Declaration.
There you go. All right.
It's pretty rare, so.
It's very rare. It's
Yes.
worth
$2.
There you go. Well, when Monroe became our 5th president in March 1817, he was already being called the last of the revolutionary framers. No, farmers. All right. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, and Madison were all unusual farmers. Each loved and understood the land. Each revered book learning. Each believed it was his duty to serve his country. James Monroe was the same kind of man. People liked him. Made them feel good. Ow! To have a president who was handsome and kindly, who fought bravely as a soldier in the Revolutionary War, who had studied law with Thomas Jefferson, and who had served in the Virginia General Assembly when the Constitution was ratified. Monroe wore knee pants and silver buckles on his shoes, even though those styles were old-fashioned by the time he was president. He was tall and gangly, with wide-set gray eyes and a large nose. He had been raised in a privileged home where he was trained to be a leader and to help others. Some important things happened during his presidency. One important thing was that the United States got Florida from Spain. That is especially important if you happen to live in Florida or go to Disneyland! Woo!
Yeah!
Well, Spain, such a mighty country in Columbus's time, had become weak. Slaves had been fleeing to Spanish-held Florida, where they lived in all-black villages or in biracial Seminole communities. Suppose you were a slave and willing to risk the dangers of running away if you head north and tried to make it to Canada. But if you lived in South Carolina or Georgia or Alabama, you wouldn't have much chance of escape if you went north. If you headed the other way and you were lucky, you might just get to Florida. There the Seminole Indians would protect you. You can see why the southern slave owners hated the Seminoles. And they were angry with the Spaniards for not making the Seminoles return their runaways. In 1817, Secretary of War John C. Calhoun sent General Andrew Jackson into Florida. Jackson was on Spanish soil. He was only supposed to capture runaway slaves. But he did more than that. He had learned to fight as the Indians fought. He burned villages and destroyed crops. He captured, killed, and humiliated the Seminoles. His White Stick Creek Indian allies fought with him. More than half his soldiers were Creeks. It was the first Seminole War. Osceola, who was now 14, was taken prisoner, but later released. Some Americans were upset. They thought Jackson had gone too far. The Spaniards were really upset. John Quincy Adams was President Monroe's Secretary of State. He offered Spain a deal. He said the United States would pay $5 million for Florida. Spain could still hold Texas and California and other western regions. The Spaniards signed John Quincy Adams' treaty. They had no choice. Spain was too weak to fight. General Andrew Jackson was named governor of the new U.S. territory, Florida. It was 1821. So, what we're saying is here is General Andrew Jackson went in without permission, took over Florida, and then the United States went, well, since we just beat you, we'll give you $5 million for the land. How's that, buddy? Yeah, that's how that went down. And they said yes, because it was better than nothing. Yeah. Lots of people in the United States couldn't wait to move to Florida, including Mickey Mouse. Oh, it doesn't say that. No, sorry. But what about the Seminoles? They had to make way for the white settlers. They were forced to move south to an inland reservation on sandy, barren land where crops hardly grew at all. Soon many were starving. The young man, Osceola, went south with the others. He was now a military chief, a Tustanegee, a kind of policeman. Florida wasn't the only place where Spain lost out. Spain and Portugal could no longer control their colonies in South and Central America. One by one, they had revolutions. They became independent nations. As soon as that happened, other European countries began to look greedily at those new Latin American nations. James Monroe and John Quincy Adams decided something needed to be done to keep Europe out of the Americas. In December 1823, President Monroe gave a speech to Congress. He said that the American continents were closed to other nations. He told the European countries they were not welcome to look for colonies in this hemisphere. The United States will not interfere in Europe's affairs, said Monroe, so Europe should keep its hands off America. That speech is very famous. What he said is called the Monroe Doctrine. It has been American policy since the days of James Monroe. It is still used today. If a European country starts pushing its weight around here, we will claim the Monroe Doctrine and say we can go to war for this. So that's still happening. The years that Monroe was president have been called an era of good feelings. Most things were going well in the country. The old fight between the Hamiltonian Federalists and the Jeffersonian Republicans seemed to have died down. But it is hard to have people in politics without having arguments. Before long, people were fussing about politics again. And now there were new parties and new arguments. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you feel good.